Welcome, friends, to the 8th day of the fast. I'm speaking to you from White Plains, New York, a northern suburb of New York City, the city of the Covenant. My name is Bill Donworth. Today we will focus on the quality of steadfastness. I would like to read this quote from Baha'u'llah. A twofold obligation resteth upon him who hath recognized the dayspring of the unity of God and acknowledged the truth of him who is the manifestation of his oneness. The first is steadfastness in his love. Such steadfastness that neither the clamor of the enemy nor the claims of the idle pretender can deter him from cleaving unto him who is the eternal truth. A steadfastness that taketh no account of them whatever. The second is strict observance of the laws he hath prescribed, laws which he hath always ordained, and will continue to ordain unto men, and through whom the truth may be distinguished and separated from falsehood. Before we get into our story today, I would like to share with you a personal story. About 45 years ago, I was working in a department store in White Plains. One evening, a couple, who were perhaps in their mid-80s, came in to purchase bed pillows. They were a bit overwhelmed and confused by the many choices. After assisting them for some time, they made their selection. I was completing their transaction at the cash register when the wife noticed the pin on the lapel of my suit jacket. It was a pin of the Baha'i ringstone symbol. She asked me, "What is that pin?" And in a split second I thought, oh no, why now? Why them? They don't even understand bedpillows. How will they understand Baha'i? I will have to repeat several times the word, and they might ask me to explain it, and my coworkers will say, there he goes again. So I answered simply, it's a religious symbol. She replied, of course, what religion? I said to myself, here we go. I said Baha'i twice. Suddenly, the husband became somewhat animated and moved his fingers across his lips as if he was looking through a file. Suddenly, he stopped and raised his index finger and said, Abbas Effendi. I was stunned and almost speechless. Finally, I said, yes, Abdul Baha. He then shocked me even more when he said, I met him back in 1912. I couldn't believe my ears. I shook his hand, and he said that he was 18 years old when he met him, and he was brought into a large room where Abdul Baha was sitting. They brought him over to him, and the man bowed down slightly, and Abdul Baha placed his hand on the man's head, and in the man's words, blessed me. I don't remember his name, but the wife said that they were not Baha'is, but that years later her husband became Roy Wilhelm's business partner. Roy Wilhelm was an early American Baha'i who, among many services to the faith, introduced the faith to Martha Root. Upon his passing in 1951, he was named a Hand of the Cause of God by The Guardian. I'm so grateful to have had this experience and thankful that I was given the courage to overcome my reluctance to mention the faith. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you take the opportunities to mention the faith because you never know who you're talking to. Thank you.
Nettie Tobin was an American Baha'i who earned a modest living as a seamstress. Her meager income barely covered food and rent in a poor district of Chicago, yet from what little she had, she faithfully set aside a few coins for the Baha'i Fund. When the Baha'is began raising money to build the first Baha'i temple in North America, Nettie felt a pang of sorrow. She longed to give more, to offer something truly worthy to this new house of worship. Day after day, she prayed earnestly for a way to contribute. One night, in a dream, she heard a voice telling her to find a stone for the temple. The call struck her heart with thrilling clarity. It became her sacred mission to seek out and bring a piece of rock to the future temple site in Wilmette. She visited a construction site near her home and found a pile of discarded stones. The foreman assured her they were of no use, so she dug through them until she discovered the stone she wanted. Rough and unpolished, yet somehow perfect in her eyes. Having claimed the stone, Nettie now faced the daunting task of transporting it across the city. She had only an old child's wagon from her youth, its wheels wobbly from age. Undeterred, she enlisted an elderly Baha'i neighbor to help her load the stone. With great effort, they pulled the cart to the nearest bus stop. Under curious stares, Nettie convinced the driver to let her bring the wagon and the heavy stone aboard. They switched buses twice, never once allowing the stone out of their sight, until they finally reached Wilmette. From there, they set off for the chosen plot of land. Partway to the destination, the worn-out cart broke beyond repair. But Nettie refused to give up. She flagged down a boy with another cart and persuaded him to help. Together, all three, Nettie, her friend, and the boy, pushed and strained until they reached the temple grounds. Just when they tried to set the stone at the very center, the cart tipped, causing the rock to tumble onto the ground. It lay there for nearly 2 years, a silent witness to Nettie's devotion. On May 1st, 1912, Abdu'l-Baha himself came to dedicate the land for the new temple. After addressing the crowd, he began walking toward a prepared spot for the cornerstone, but then he veered away, heading instead to where Nettie's stone lay untouched. Pointing to it, he declared that this was to be the cornerstone of the temple. With the help of onlookers, he placed the stone in its place, gently pushed the surrounding earth around it, and proclaimed, "The temple is already built." Today, when one visits that sacred site and sees the rough, unrefined piece of stone, it is impossible not to sense the power of that moment, the greatness of Abdu'l-Baha's blessing, and the unwavering faith of a humble soul who believed she had something precious to give. In that single act of obedience and sacrifice, Nettie Tobin fulfilled what many recognize as a biblical prophecy, that the stone once deemed insignificant would become the cornerstone of a mighty edifice. And so it remains, a timeless testament to the power of a pure intention, a resolute heart, and the assurance that no offering is too small when it is carried by the wings of true devotion.
O Son of Man, O Son of Man, O Son of Man, O Son of Man, Thou art my dominion, and my dominion perisheth not. Wherefore fearest thou thy perishing? Thou art my light, and my light shall never be extinguished. Why dost thou dread extinction? Thou art my glory. Abide then in thy love for me, that thou mayest find me. Abide then in thy love for me, that thou mayest find me. In the realm of glory, the realm